Welcome back to Always Almost There, a Goose podcast series on We Move Through Stormy Weather. I'm Neal.
I'm Kev.
I'm Sweet D.
I'm Brian, a.k.a. Jive Goose.
And I'm Ryan. The five of us are here today to talk about the final leg of the Dripfield Summer Tour. And boy, is it good to be back. It's been a couple of months since I was here for one of these, at least, and a couple of months since you guys did one of these, isn't it?
We missed you, Ryan.
Yeah, it's been too long, Ryan.
Missed you guys too. It was a fantastic summer at camp, but I very much missed podcasting and talking for multiple hours about Goose, I have to say.
Good news, Ryan.
And now you get to do it multiple times a week some weeks.
Very excited. Great segue, D. For those of you who didn't know, we just recently launched Always Almost There Live, which means the day after every Goose show, we will be live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at AAT Goose Pod. Check us out at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern. We will be recapping the previous night's show. Any of the five of us who are available will be there, as well as we are going to have some special guests of people who were at the show. So we will be putting out an announcement on our social medias in the next couple of weeks, looking for guests for the upcoming fall tour. So keep your eye out for that.
Yeah, let us know if where you're going to shows this tour.
Yeah, pack up a plug. The first two were really a lot of fun to do. Can't wait to do some more.
Yeah, and they're a lot of fun, and they will also be available to listen wherever you get your podcasts. So right here where you're listening, while you're listening to this, you can also go look at the Always Almost There live episodes that are uploaded as well. Very exciting.
Yeah, so just one more thing because I've had a couple conversations with people about like what it means to be a guest on the live show. And like if you're at the show, all you have to do is come on and talk casually about your experience at the show. We don't need in-depth jam analysis or anything like that. We just want people who are there to come on and talk about what they saw, what they heard, what they felt while they were there.
And Neal,
vibes, all of it.
What's the appearance fee? What are we charging fans to come on the show?
A crisp high
I don't
five.
think we can get away with that. We might have to actually pay people.
If you see one of us at a show, you must give us a crisp high five. That's all we ask.
Fair enough.
Flick Ryan in the nuts.
Be nice to Ryan's ball sack.
That one works too. Well, should we dive into this August tour?
Let's do it.
The end of the Dripfield Summer Tour. Fear not, we have the Dripfield Fall Tour on the horizon. So starting off on August 12th, after a few weeks off the road post-Newport, we have a 2-night stand at the Chrysalis near Meriwether Post Pavilion in Columbia, Maryland. This is a really, really cool venue, I think. Not having been there or anything, just seeing pictures and video, it just looks amazing. What do you guys think of this place?
Yeah, I think even just on those initial tour dates and saw this venue and heard of, something connected to Meriwether, which I myself have never been, but have only heard wonderful things. But to hear of this other venue sort of by the main amphitheater and just seeing those pictures, sort of the green, like dome, sort of alien looking, concert sort of stage and setting, and it just within the trees, it looked pretty magical.
Indeed, to add to that just a little bit, if any of y'all are following AZN Pics on Twitter, she just did an amazing job of capturing the lights, the Getty Light Show, and what that light show looked like at that venue, and it was amazing.
Yeah, she takes amazing shots.
Yeah, and I think Kevin nailed that. Getty had like the show of the tour, or the shows of the tour at Chrysalis. Like the pictures looked amazing from like just about everybody who took pictures there. And I really wish I wish I made the drive down there because it wasn't too far for me. But
should have.
Wow, gorgeous venue. Getty rose to the occasion. They keep playing these bigger stages and they keep rising to that. And Getty does it along with them, and it's absolutely spectacular. This particular venue.
Well, let's dive into this show. We've got first set, Butterflies, Butter Rum, Lead the Way, The Whales, My Generation, Jive 1. Really stand out from this set to me is the My Generation jam. This song is interesting because it's just a cover of a Who song, but all the times they've played it, it's gone to a really interesting jam. This one being the longest of the bunch so far. I think only 3 plays, but it is... this jam came out really well. They get into this really nice and ambient space just out of the song. I think it's a really, really good jam vehicle that's surprising, coming out a cover like that. I'm also now looking it up, and it seems that they've played it 7 times, not 3. So I was incorrect. What do you guys think of this My Generation and the first set?
I think it's my favorite, definitely version for sure. Seemed to fit the venue well too. I agree. It sort of went into after coming out of that rock song, kind of finding a more like ambient, ethereal type space, which I think they've done a better job at this tour too. Rest of the set, solid. Butterflies to Open is fun. Obviously, Chrysalis. I think every one of us overlooked that on Fantasy Goose too, which was kind of funny. But just a fun first set to start this leg. What do you guys think? Jive 1 to close. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that My Generation is pretty great. And they get to the jam real quick too. It's like right at about the 420 mark in the song that they actually kind of drop into the jam section of it.
Nice.
And they're right at 420, no joke. And then the interesting thing about this one is like I wasn't really sure if they were going to keep jamming or if they were going to start playing Dr. Darkness, because Rick was doing like the same exact thing he normally does when they're about to go into Dr. Darkness, which is like kind of like bend down and just start tweaking knobs. But we got a pretty great jam out of the deal. And the only thing I really have to say about the rest of the set is if you're tracking Peter Yaz, we got one in Jive 1.
There you go. Peter Yaz are always a good indicator of a great show or jam.
Yeah,
tweaking knobs.
And then we move into the second set. We've got All I Need, The Old Man's Boat, Creatures, Shamalama Ding Dong with a Tumble Encore. This All I Need, it's the second 35-minute All I Need of the summer, which is crazy that there are 2 35-minute All I Needs this summer. This one really, the one at Legend Valley has a lot of meat on the first jam and then still an incredible second jam. This one is all about the second jam. And it really goes to a unique place that a lot of All I Need second jams don't go. Slows it down more instead of just the straight ahead groove after a little while, and really gets places. I found that, as I was listening to it, it's like, oh, this is pretty, standard sounding All I Need up until, a little while into the second jam. And then it really started going places. And I really, really enjoyed where this one went. Kev, what did you think?
I love dubstep. I mean, we need to get that out of the way right now. Yeah, I mean, it was a quick transition out of that first set, and obviously we're going to spend time talking about this 35-minute All I Need. All I Need, they kill it every time they play it. It's one of their main jam vehicles. I love listening to it. Moving into Old Man's Boat, Creatures, it was a great second set. I don't know. I don't know how y'all feel moving into Shama. It's a fan favorite. Paige Caruso. There's a lot of fandom out there that loves the Shama. Jive, what do you think of the Shama?
Oh, I'd rather talk about the All I Need.
That's a good transition. So, what do you think about the All I Need then?
So,
right.
Huge highlight. Another really big All I Need. I think everybody's thoughts immediately went to, wanting to compare this to Legend Valley.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Legend Valley one is I would say head and shoulders above this one, but I mean, I think it's quite a bit better just with the darkness, and feel like there's greater variance in that jam and it's more interesting to me. This one was really cool. I felt like, it really took until about the 19-20 minute mark for things to really get interesting. And that's where, it really had my attention. And in the next 15 minutes, I mean, there's some really good stuff there. So definitely, I'm pretty sure I've got in my top 15 jams of the year. So, I mean, it's no slouch at all, but yeah, it is interesting. Those 2 just monster All I Needs this year, just right back to, like you said, Kev, just crushing every version.
Now, will you say something nice about the Shama?
And they played Shama.
It was there. It was great.
It was, it was a good one, Yeah. High energy finish to the set and the show.
Definitely.
No, I agree. I think, it's like the 2 sides of the All I Need. For me, Legend Valley with the dissonance and sort of heavy bass and sort of the darker spaces, trying to work away from those adjectives, darkness, because we have so much good jams that this band is doing right now. But and I think what this one showed is if they do explore and get to those spaces, sometimes it can pay off. It doesn't always do so. But yeah, it was nice to sort of see the second jam take a different turn. Tumble encore. I mean, great way to open the leg. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a hell of an encore, right?
Yeah.
Encore that shit.
Dude.
Encore that shit. I'll say this about the All I Need. I think when you kind of like juxtapose this All I Need with the Legend Valley All I Need, I think Legend Valley shows you a lot of kind of the future of Goose jamming. We talked about this like a little bit offline, where there's kind of like the bliss darkness pairing in the jam. This All I Need that we're talking about now is like more, I don't know, it reminds me of like an older All I Need. Like they could have done this All I Need in 2021, and I think that would have been kind of normal for them. I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of off base on that one. But other note on this is, in the Nugs comments, somebody was saying that they heard like a Beast Pose tease in this. And I kind of re-listened to it today just to see if I could hear that Beast Pose in there. And like, they do get kind of close to it at points.
I think that's just that's like saying though that there's a tease of a creatures from a specific date. Like,
yeah, that's
not a recognizable tease. It's just a recurring jam theme, which is still cool to note, but it's not something that goes on the set list.
It kind of bolsters my point that this feels like kind of like a vintage, like All I Need.
That's
by
fair.
Vintage, I mean like 1 year old.
2020 even.
Yeah, exactly. So very cool. All I Need. I don't know if I put it in the same class as the All I Need from Legend Valley, but it's a pretty great one. And then the other thing about this set, which like nobody is talking about, is how good this Old Man's Boat is. It's really, really, really good, and probably one of my favorite Old Man's Boats ever. Which is like, it's not like a list of like the greatest jams they've ever done, but it's definitely worth a re-listen. Because I tend to kind of skip over boats when I re-listen to shows, but this one, it shouldn't be skipped. It's actually quite good.
Good boat. Good boat.
Shall we move on to the next show?
Let's do it,
Neal.
Well, take it away.
All right, so second night at Chrysalis, set one, we had Elizabeth and Atlas Dogs in the original arrangement, Echo of a Rose, which is a Kevin favorite, and one of mine, Yeti, Turbulence in the Night Rays, and Jive 2. And like what I'll say about this one is like I love the original arrangement of Atlas Dogs. Love how that melted into Echo of a Rose. I thought that was beautiful. And then the jam in this Echo of a Rose is so cool. And to me, it sounds like they're kind of riffing on the outro jam of Pancakes a little bit in this. But
Agreed.
I've gone back to this one a bunch and listened to it a bunch of times. It's a really, really good jam.
Yeah, I heard that too. Sort of the finish. I just listened to it, and it has a very unique peak.
This first set is all about the Atlas Dogs Echo of a Rose. Like it's just so good. Hearing that original arrangement come back after a bunch of plays in June, in the indie groove arrangement, if you will. And then that absolutely beautiful, just the way it like the jam melts into Echo so perfectly, and then Echo is just straight fire for its 20 minutes. Like, I think we've talked about this a little bit. The Echo's not, I don't think, going to make very many of our Jam of the Year playlists, but it's a really, really fantastic jam, really strong, still showcase of the band, just killing it.
Let me ask you something real quick, Ryan, and Jive as well. If this echo kept going for, say, 3 or 4 more minutes and kept developing the way that it was, would it have made it into that conversation for both y'all?
I mean, very possibly.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. Excuse me, theoretically, what might happen. I mean,
I guess I'm asking, like, specifically, is it because it was only, 20 or 21 minutes versus like some of the other versions? Does that hurt it against some of the other versions?
No, I look at quality over quantity.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and in fact, Kev, I actually have the what was the date on? I've got the Minneapolis Echo on my playlist, and that was only 16 minutes long.
Got it.
But it's a super interesting, just killer jam. It's just not long. So, it's the same type of efficiency, rating that we all give to San Fran Wisteria.
San Francisco, yeah.
You know what I mean? So not about the length at all. I think this Echo was awesome, just to get back to MPP, I mean, or Chrysalis rather, but it's a great Echo. It's just, it's more of, I guess, if we want to say type 1 and type 2 and that kind of thing, this would be a little bit more type 1 for me, because it's kind of just a, I don't know, pedal to the floor kind of just,
all gas,
high energy type jam.
No
So
breaks.
great jam. Yeah. Super fun to dance to and whatever. But yeah, I mean, but to your question, yeah, when we're looking at and kind of ranking these things and comparing them or whatever, I just didn't feel like there was anything incredibly interesting about it, but that doesn't mean it wasn't still awesome.
Right. Yeah. And if I could, because I don't know how many times in the group chat I've told you, I'm listening to the Atlas Rose again, probably nine times, 10 times, somewhere in that area. That Atlas Dogs, OG Dogs, with that jazzy little jam that Trevor kind of gets everybody into towards the end there. And like you were saying, that melt into echo, like that is some of my favorite 32 minutes of music that I'm always going back to. I mean, it's just so good. So, man, so great to revisit.
Kev, I got your back. It's okay to, just have those jams that you need to put on at certain times. And like, I could totally see how this is one of them.
We'll hear about that.
And Neal, you referenced that, right? Like, so it's not necessarily, you actually have a nugs list, right? Of like comforting jams that you go back to.
Yeah. I mean, some jams, they may not be the best jams. I'm making finger quotes now, but they're jams that fit like moods that I'd love to put on. And like, I could totally see this one being one of them, this Echo.
Hey, Neal,
sure.
Is that the Neal's Bath Time Jams playlist you sent me?
Yeah. I get a bath bomb, and then I put on Peach Tumble.
Neal's
and it's just like, all my troubles just melt away.
Oh boy!
Let's talk about
Trevor dropping bombs.
Let's get to this set
with your
Let's
bath
get to
Let's
this
talk
set
about
two.
set 2. This set 2 is worth talking about for sure. So opens with Earthling or Alien, right? So Ready, Travelers, Love is a Battlefield, Empress of Organos, and then White Lights for the first time in forever, encore. But this Earthling or Alien is just outrageous.
The business.
The first of its kind, right? But not the only one of its kind, as we're going to kind of talk about later on this show. They really took this one for a ride. And, I mean, boy, is it spectacular. I don't know. I'll leave it to you guys to talk about the details. But
yeah, I think it's also worth noting that White Lights here is coming off a 15-show gap, which is its third longest gap ever. Sorry, its second longest gap ever. The only longer one was when it was played at T's house March 27th, 2020, after a 17-show gap, and this one was 15. It's really interesting that it's kind of, fallen out of the rotation a little bit after being on a really, really tight rotation, I guess.
A lot of new songs coming into the mix
for a while.
That's
definitely
true.
and it's interesting, tracking that kind of stuff. But this
Brian,
this
with the history
Earthling
lesson.
Yes, thank you. This Earthling, really, really amazing. We don't have video of this, but we've been told by people who are at the show that it was due to a broken string from Rick that caused the jam to kind of start going off in a different direction. And then it just kept going, and it just got like super dark and amazing. And so this is, I think, the second instance this year where we've seen a pop string mid jam kind of lead to a new kind of exploration. The other one being the Louisville Indian River.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that's a really cool how that can push the other guys. It's like, oh, well, Rick's not playing. Let's, kind of go somewhere with this. And so it's interesting to see how they adapt to him, taking a second to swap guitars or whatever he does there.
Yeah, this Earthling or Alien is the GOAT. It's the jam
Easily.
of this show. It's my number 16 jam of the year right now. And yeah, I mean, nothing. I mean, look, it goes dark. It gets pretty nasty. And, I don't always love the song, but, this jam just really, wow. I mean, just, you've been talking about it, Neal, like referencing a lot of the conversations we've been having on the side with just, the trying to just mix in more darkness, doing a lot of the kind of darkness and bliss, within the same jams, within the same songs. Yeah, this one just went straight bad boy. And it keeps going for a while, and it stays pretty interesting. Sometimes it'll just chug along. It might hit that territory and just kind of chug along a little bit. But yeah, this one really kind of keeps things interesting. And so, yeah, big time highlight of this run really for me.
You came around on this one. I think you weren't so high on it right away. So what changed for you?
Well, so we didn't have streams for this,
right?
And so, first night we had a fan stream, I believe. I was tweeting the set list from something. Second night we didn't have anything, and so yeah, I don't know, man. I just I don't know. Sometimes with Earthling or Alien, I'm just I come in the door and I'm like, oh, Earthling or Alien, okay, well, it can't be that good, right?
It's Earthling.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not.
This one's Alien. Fair to say, this one's Alien.
This one's Alien. That's good.
Thought it was the.
I think it's fair to. It's the goat too. I really liked it too. I agree. I sort of write off songs where there are possibilities and potentials based on, the composition at times, and this one did it. But yeah, I listened back, I think a second or third time, and just was sort of floored by it, driving, and stayed interesting, got different, and didn't stick in the same place, which some of those jams, like you said, Brian, can kind of, when they get a little too repetitious, it just sort of loses my focus, and I don't know, sort of, I think, lacks anything interesting. But yeah, really good jam, good set.
Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to say about the show, which was in the first set, but that Jive 2 has a good kind of 30 to 45 seconds of just straight Scomule from Rick, and I think Trevor too, which is kind of an interesting note. Definitely worth going back and checking out. Kind of steps out of the normal Jive 2.
Was that
just
a
quick? If I could do a quick comment on the set too here, I think I remember texting Jive something flippant about the ERA, like, is it worth my time? In sort of the same vein as y'all, Earthling or Alien is usually Earthling or Alien. And I remember after that 25 minutes, almost texting him back an apology, like, holy shit.
It's always good to be apologetic about a good jam.
Yeah. And also don't judge a book by its title,
Yeah, that's a good point.
True. So should we talk about the only shows that matter, which is the Colorado run?
Oh, okay. But yeah. Well, we'll get to Mr. Attendance Bias in a couple of shows. But
holy. Yeah. I'm not watching Ryan, but I just saw him roll his eyes.
All right. So next up we had the first of the 3 nights in the Colorado run, starting on Tuesday, August 16th at the Dillon Amphitheater in Dillon, Colorado. So sort of up near Breckenridge. We had me, Jive, and Kevin at these shows. Was graciously scooped by Kev at train station, and had a
Subaru
day.
Blasting Billy Strings.
Yep. Brought it on arrival.
That's good imagery right there.
Yeah. Was the Counting Crows CD get scratched up?
No, I made promises, and I wanted to fulfill my promises. I appreciate y'all.
The Counting Crows vinyl greeted me when I sat down on the couch for the first time in Kev's basement. So, but yeah, so great day. And yeah, we got up there. It was raining. Weather was awful. But just a beautiful setting, great crowd, wonderful group of people. We had a wonderful house with our good friends. The best engagement ever in Goose history, of course, from Becca and Brendan. So shout out to them. But so in the midst of the rain, we have our first set here, which was Bob Don, opener, Time to Flee, Indian River, followed by SOS, little Labyrinth bust out, and Hot Tea to close. So my initial thoughts, the Flea is definitely my highlight of the set. Bob Don was a interesting opener. I sort of likened it to the 5/4/21, was it, Fred? Or 5/3? Maybe I'm getting the date wrong. 2021, with the Arrow Don and when it was raining.
That's 5/3.
5/3. Okay, yeah, sorry. So but good opener. But yeah, the Flea it's pretty cool. Sort of, I think when you could kind of tell the weather and everyone was settling in, but good little jam, just nice sort of type 1, typical Flea, but good push. Indian River had it was version like 6.7, I think Brian
Yeah.
termed it as. So 80s, is that what Coach said? 80s intro?
80s vibe?
80s
80s
style
vibe
arrangement.
intro?
80s feel.
80s feel, thank
Is
you.
that
New
code
Super
for
Ted 80s feel.
is that code
Ooh.
for Peter using synth?
Basically.
Well, yeah, and they like broke it down though, so it was like very vocal and the synth. It was kind of like
we
the
do
slow
talk
ready
about this. Yeah, we did talk about this
live.
at
That's
length,
right.
pretty much on
Yeah.
the live episode for Portland.
Yeah, we did it live.
When
We
was
did it
that?
live, so go check that out.
I don't
We did
remember.
do it live.
When?
Otherwise, my first Labyrinth, so that was kind of cool. But good set. What'd you guys think about it?
So let me just jump in real quick because I want to say a couple things. I know we're trying to get through these shows, so this pod isn't like incredibly long. But we wanted to take a little bit of extra time for Dylan and Red Rocks just because we had the crew.
Because you were there.
Yeah, we had the crew there. You know what I mean? So
all right.
you and Neal are going to do a Radio City special episode where you guys get to talk about the shows you were at.
A retrospective.
So yeah, like Dee said, I mean, I got in the night before, met up with Brennan and Becca, had a nice house in Frisco, and then Kev and Dee showed up the next day. A little bit of
Stumbled
rain, but we
in.
had a great time.
That hot tub though.
Yeah, we got a great spot. We got a great spot on kind of the first row of the seats. And yeah, I mean it was a really fun time. The venue is just incredible. I mean, definitely met way more, Wednesday night was like kind of the mingle session where we just met so many people. And, we had just crews all around us full of people that we knew, meeting awesome people that we didn't know. And I mean, it was just such a feel good vibe at these shows. I think everybody was just appreciating the venue, just the good times that everybody was having. I mean, it truly was just an awesome time. And so, but yeah, just real quick, just comments on this night one. I mean, yeah, Time to Flee had a really nice jam to it. Just kind of easing into the show. Pretty laid back stuff. The SOS.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of these, shenanigans have been really strong lately. It's just, I always like to see that. Crushed it. Labyrinth, it's cool. I mean, it's long. And then T Closer, so I just can't overstate how much fun I was having though. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, yeah, it didn't really matter in the moment, and that's everybody's sentiments at every show to be fair. You know what I mean? It's like everybody comes home or walks out of a set thinking, holy shit, that was so incredible. You know what I mean? Because that's the vibe. You know what I mean? Everybody's putting that out there and then everybody's picking it up. You know what I mean? And that's the beautiful thing.
And how many times have we discussed it that, yes, our pod is about discussing these jams, but sometimes just precisely executed songs can be a good time as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say we do miss the with part of Bob Don.
Yes.
Very much.
Oh my, yeah. It's we're just waiting on a prayer at this point as I called like looking at both Brian and Kevin. It's like no.
So yeah, I'm just happy it was raining so nobody could see the tear coming from my left eye.
Yeah. That
So,
might have been yeah.
I only have one thing to say about this set, which is Labyrinth was the first Labyrinth since January 30th in San Fran. So that's an incredibly long time.
Was that
43?
43?
43 show gap. And then the other thing is like I was calling Labyrinth Goose's Petrichor, which has like actually like gotten some traction now. And like I don't say that as pejorative at all, because I do like Petrichor. But yeah, I mean
it's not that
cool.
you like the Labyrinth. It's like you like Petrichor.
Yeah,
ouch.
Dude, it's cool if they bust it out every like so often, and it's a nice one to pick up if you're chasing songs. So it's a cool one for the set. I think we're pretty lucky to get it.
Stat
man.
Yep.
So just real quick, I know like probably all of you guys know the story behind Labyrinth in terms of its composition. Like, how did that happen?
Like, how was Labyrinth written?
Yeah.
from what I've heard, and this is no guarantee that it's factual, is that Rick wrote it when he was in high school.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I wanted to hit on. And just as a multi-part composition, like I know
it was debuted by the Shenanigans.
I would say impressive, and I know it doesn't jam, and it's just very composed, and it is what it is. And again, I get this is a jam analysis show, so we can move on.
But no, it's a cool piece of trivia. And then
we analyze vibes. We analyze vibes too.
And then T to close the set.
I like the vibes.
Let's move on to this second set.
Yeah,
here. There's some stuff to dig into.
Good set. So Flow Down opener, nice long intro. We had a drive followed by a Western Sun, which dripped into Moby. Always a pleasure as well. And finishing the set with Into the Mist and Pancakes with a Doobie Song encore. Yeah, this was obviously the more of the highlight in terms of set. Long intro on the Flow Down, which they've continued to explore and sort of work, and definitely gets people going right away. Sort of a typical straightforward drive, not too much in it. My highlight being, of course, the Western Sun. Yeah, just a beautiful song, and they have been we've been seeing it a lot more. The song in general is sort of on very much short rest. But this one got interesting, got dark, got to some very cool spaces, and probably my favorite moment with Rick. He was just really into the set, and yeah, good finish. I liked this set. Another strong Mist, finished Mist, and high energy Pancakes. So great set for me.
Yeah, I really like this. The meat of the set, if you will, for me is the Western Sun into Moby. I was just re-listening to it a little while before we hopped on to record this. Just really nice and melodic playing from Rick, keeping in that typical Western Sun, major key, gorgeous jam. And then they really, really nailed the segue into Moby, just kind of brought it down super quiet, let Peter kind of handle the transition on Vintage Vibe. And they really, they stuck with the tempo of the jam for a little bit leading into Moby, which I thought was really cool. I think sometimes the transition can be a little bit clunky because of the tempo change. But I think they really nailed the intro to Moby here. And this is one of the finest Mobys I've heard from them live.
It was really better on re-listen too. I thought they almost stopped, but when you hear it in recording, the sort of slide is beautiful.
Yeah, and I believe that someday I will see Moby live, and I will probably cry.
Right, Kev?
So I don't know if this is misogynistic or not, but when Trevor dropped into the Moby bass line, I almost felt my kidney puncture.
What?
Those are deep, deep bass notes.
Why would that be misogynistic?
I don't know.
Oh, man.
Oh, Kev.
This Western Sun was cool. From a perspective of somebody who was listening at home, weeping. This was the song I think that got everybody's attention. Right. Yeah. I think there were a lot of people at this show maybe seeing Goose for their first or second time or something like that. But watching Twitter when they played Western Sun, it absolutely blew up. And there was dozens and dozens of holy shit tweets. Because this Western Sun really goes to a pretty special place that I thought was really unique. Definitely a highlight of the set, one of the highlights of the run, even. Really, really cool version of that song.
Yeah, I think you're referencing, which I have failed to do so, pardon, the Relics free stream where people got to access these shows.
Yeah, sure.
Yep. So that was, I failed to mention that. But this was one where the general public got streaming access, which was great. So yeah, more publicity.
Well, you had to be a Nug subscriber.
No, sorry, Nugs, not, yep, my bad. The Nugs.
So not quite Gen Pub, but
Nug Pub.
Nug accessible.
But I'm not going to add too much for this second set. Yeah, Western Sun was highlight of the night. I mean, it was really, really awesome jam and just beautiful song. Again, I mean, at this venue, just so awesome. And yeah, love getting Moby, and I love Mist, and nothing like being at a show and getting the opportunity to yell creatures at Kevin when they start Mist. And then, yeah, I mean, a fairly standard Pancakes closes it. And then the Doobie Song encore, which it seems to be this, it's real contentious. I mean, a lot of people, it's real debatable whether or not this is a good encore song. And I never get that. I love it. I mean, I just think it's such a great,
and that's also a decently lengthy gap on Doobie, tied for the longest gap in its history at 32 shows. Last played at my favorite attended show, 3-1 C.
I
don't know if you guys know that I really like that show. I don't really talk about it.
No, never.
Is
that a long time without a Doobie?
Is that like DC in America?
Yes.
I wasn't right. I was DC and All in America.
Nothing like
Shut Up, Captain Incredible. We know you love the song.
Well, shall we hit Dylan Night 2?
That's a great transition. Yes. I love an end to show Doobie. And as we transition to Night 2 at Dylan, painting some context for our attendance bias, picture, these stormy clouds parting and this blue sky and sun the next day just shining down on us as Jive, Becca, Brendan, myself, Danny Rosewoods, and Chop and Allie, and there are a handful of other people.
Brittany.
Jesse Mixman, just hitting the lake and catching some rays and just vibing up for Night 2.
On tune, charge up.
Yeah, and we got there a little bit earlier.
Dude, all aboard the Happy Tears.
The Happy Tears, and
Chop
man,
just
slaying it.
Oh my! How fast was that boat even going? I mean, I feel like Chop had that thing at like 7 miles per hour at one point.
It was a solid knot. It was a solid knot. It was a solid knot if we're using nautical terminology and vernacular.
That's KN.
One knot.
Yeah, one knot. Plus or minus.
Let's talk about the show in these back-to-back
Doobie
songs,
so,
if you will.
Getting into the first set here, we have the show opening up with California Magic, one of the great new songs that they've come out with recently. A very rare switch-in. A Born, which I think all of us will agree is probably the highlight of the first set. Maybe y'all have different opinions here. Folding into a Dr. Darkness and closing that first set with a Mississippi half step. Go ahead, Neal.
So this was my... Can I go first?
No, I want to talk about switching.
Yeah, he wanted to get in.
I want to talk about switching.
He wanted to get into switching, and I know it's his deal.
You go into switching.
I'm not going to steal your thunder
that's why
on the switching details, Ryan. I'll let you take that one. But
that's all I want.
Oh, man. I was stoked to hear this one. Everybody knows how much I love switching. I actually got two of my favorite covers in this set with the half step and the switching. So
and you weren't
absolutely spectacular. Got a really nice video sent to me by my brother during Born, where the sun was like kind of setting like into a cloud, like over a mountain. What an amazing picturesque setting for that Born. It was absolutely incredible. But I'll let Ryan say his thing about switching because I know he's really excited about it.
First time played with Peter on keys. Let me tell you.
Oh, nice.
Let me tell you. So this was the day I got back from camp. I napped in the afternoon because I was like, I got 3 hours of sleep on the last night of camp. Like, there's no way I'm making it through a mountain time webcast without a nap. So I took a nap. I'm ready. Like, I've got the projector going in the basement. I'm just really excited. Cali Magic opens it up and they hit to switching. And then when Peter, instead of his usual guitar solo, when he turned around and started ripping into the organ, I lost my mind. You guys know I was freaking out in the group chat. I was very, very excited about it. This is now my favorite switch-in by a fair margin. But Peter absolutely slayed the organ solo, played organ through the rest of the song. Sounds amazing. I really hope it stays this way for future versions. I think it really, really suits the song. But I was so, so happy about it. And the Born that came next, I mean, easily the GOAT. Easily the GOAT. So many different sections happening. Really, really amazing. The only thing I want to say about Born is I really, really, really would like them to somehow incorporate the synth build back into the song from those first few versions back in the winter.
Yes, please.
Because it's such a beautiful thing that has not been present for 6 months now. Which I miss dearly. But, great segue into Dr. Darkness, as it tends to do, and then Half Step, great jam in there. But just, it's all about the switching and Born in this set.
Yeah, Born was
I want to take us back. Oh, go ahead, D.
No, that was good. You got something more important to say. I can tell. I can hear it.
No, I just wanted to take us back to the water, to the docks.
Happy tears.
Tranquil.
Chop's playlist. We should just break down Chop's playlist.
What was on Chop's playlist?
I just wanted to just give a shout to like I said when we were talking about the first time with the rain and stuff. This day 2 was incredible. I mean, it was just we were out on the boat with some cool people, and then we lined up nice and early, and just I mean, just a super fun time. Getting to chat with so many awesome people, meeting so many awesome people, tons of Goose Twitter, first time meets for me for sure. So yeah, just super, just great day. Just magical,
Really was
majestical. And
there you go.
Phenomenal.
California Magic. I love it. Switching. Yeah. Big time. The Born. Yeah. Goat Born. Just all day long on this one. It's a put it on repeat. I've been listening to it a lot this last week or so. Dr. Darkness, cool to see for sure. Big Mississippi half step. I'm a huge fan. I like the Grateful Dead, so was really happy to see that. And it's an emotional experience. You know what I mean? Just the the refrain on that song. It's so beautiful and emotional. So love hearing Rick sing that. Yeah, I mean, this is a top set for me personally. I mean, there's just nothing bad here. You know what I mean? You got 2 really awesome jams, and then a great cover that doesn't pop. Switching, a great cover that doesn't pop up very often. California Magic opener, I love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's such a good opener.
Bringing that back in that spot.
Yeah. Set the tone in Legend Valley too. It's a perfect opener.
Yeah. One more thing that I want to say about the set before we move on is this: if I remember it correctly, the written set list that they had on stage didn't have Born in this spot. Like they picked this Born for that moment, which is really interesting in a couple ways because it was like right at sunset, which is kind of cool. But also like maybe it gives an indication that they didn't plan to play this for as long as they did, which like what's the minute count on this? Is like 25,
27 almost.
Almost 27, yeah.
And that's just really cool that in the moment they decided to play this Born and stretch it out the way that they did, like they never have before. That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, it was really beautiful.
I didn't want to say anything, Neal, but I got pretty excited after that switch in. I brought a couple signs with me, so I just reached into my bag and I just grabbed a sign. One of them was Born, and the other one was Escape, the Pina Colada song. I grabbed the Born sign
and handed off the Pina,
I mean? And just held that baby up. And so I didn't realize it wasn't on the set list. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe that was the sign.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They saw the sign.
As we transition here into the second set, I would also like to clarify. It was pointed out that I left during Born, allegedly to go to the bathroom, and I just want to clarify it was during the vocal part that I was actually going to get a beer because I knew they were going to jam it for another 20 minutes. So I just want to clarify it was more of a preparation step than it was anything else.
I took a purr break. That's okay.
Yeah. Set 2, we have a Honeybee into Wisteria Lane. It's My Life that many people know as a No Doubt song. Everybody other than me is going to clarify who the actual artist is on that. Rosewood Heart, a very short Rosewood Heart by recent Rosewood Heart standards. Rockdale into Your Ocean, pretty cool Madhavan, and then we get the Turn Clouds encore.
Killer set.
Loved it. I'm gonna let Ryan, you were watching on Nugs. What were your impressions? I don't want to fluff it too much. Like we're painting this picture on the water. I don't want to Bob Ross this thing. So
yeah, the standout for me is this Wisteria. That jagged churn jam that they get into, toggling between that and this kind of triumphant peaky jam. The cool thing to me was after they had gone back and forth a couple of times, Rick would move back into this, more triumphant mode, and Peter would keep hammering into that, churning evil, vamp on his guitar. Just really, really strong jam here. Wisteria continues to absolutely kill in 2022. And this is
I am here
very
for
excellent version.
Someone mentioned that they're pro-evil Peter cackling. It wasn't necessarily associated with that Wisteria Lane. Do we want more Peter cackling?
I want more dark evil Peter cackle.
Okay. Yeah. Give me all the evil Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Just such a good set. Mysterio was the transitional sort of play between both moods, like you talked about, Ryan, where it was great. Got to soak in the Rosewood Heart, dead center, lots of tears, beautiful moment. Such a fun set.
So I think this Wisteria, again, and I'm gonna kind of say this a bunch, is kind of indicative of where things are going for this band. That they're going to these different spaces that I think everybody loves, and I think we should continue to talk about how much we love these spaces this band is going to. So they do this kind of thing more often. Easily the highlight of the show here, even over the Born that is like the goat Born. This Wisteria, absolutely incredible. And then, I mean, look at the set list. It's just so good.
Yeah, I would like to comment. I would like to comment on the fact that this is the second set that has 7 songs since February 5th in Seattle.
Wow. Boom. Look at you with the
every second set. I just did a quick scroll back on lgoose.net. Every second set has less than 7 songs going back to February, which is crazy.
Yeah, it is a bit of a long set to time wise, but yeah, I mean that's also indicative of kind of how
good flow.
Kind of quickly they were playing these songs too. I mean, Rockdale, Matavan, Rosewood were all pretty straightforward, without pretty concise. The Wisteria, like everybody's been saying, I mean, that's the show. I actually on my playlist I've got Born a couple spots higher. At the end of the day than this Wisteria, but the Wisteria was kind of the moment of the night for me for sure. I mean, we were having a lot of fun dancing. I mean, we kind of had a whole row of people. We were just moving around and just kind of just feeling it. If anything, I almost felt like I loved it. It was so awesome in the moment hearing Rick start to lead them kind of back and forth between that kind of darker space that they were all kind of locked in on, and then Rick taking them to, okay, now boom, now we're going to hit this a little bit more kind of happy place. And if anything, I almost felt like not everybody locked in on that. And you made an interesting point that maybe Peter was kind of sticking with the darker stuff and wasn't kind of, but maybe by choice, wasn't in lockstep with that. But I almost felt like I was wanting it to hit harder, that everybody just dropped into that. You know what I mean? And it almost just sounds like not quite everybody was picking up what Rick was laying down. You know what I mean? But the shit he was laying down was fucking incredible. And they did eventually start to really hammer it home, like the last couple rounds they did it. And then he was firing away on some, super fast, licks towards the end. I mean, yeah, I mean, it was, yeah, dude, it was definitely, like I said, I mean, it was, kind of the emotional and like the moment of the night for sure. But that Born has some incredible stuff in it. So yeah. And then, like I already said, I mean, they kind of moved through the rest of the set fairly quickly. It's My Life, I thought sounded really cool. It's a Talk original, and definitely a fun song. I probably, if we were going to start ranking covers, that wouldn't be as low as some of the other kind of more 80s stuff that they do. I really actually enjoyed that. So Cloud's Encore, boom. I mean, just a solid show. I think I've slotted in at number 6 for the year. I mean, it's hopefully no attendance bias there, but I tried to just look at this objectively, and feels like just an incredibly strong show anchored by those 2 huge jams.
Yeah. I love the Rockdale. That's the people song in my opinion. Everybody loves it. Gets raucous into that kind of soft Eurasian landing pad into a scorching Matavan, and I think that's a great transition for Jive to talk about his controversial ranking of our next show, which is Red Rocks.
Great segue.
Rocks
5 day.
So yeah, I mean, I guess it's controversial. I mean, I think it's a great show, but let's.
You're upsetting people, Brian.
Let's start by just setting the scene a little bit. So this was kind of
And
a
you need the
family
scene
affair.
for this show ranking.
What's that?
You need the scene for your
Gotta
show
paint-
ranking.
Got to paint the context.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, when the to what Ryan's saying there, I mean, there's everybody's got their personal vibes, but then there's also times like Dylan and Red Rocks and also Goose Miss and Radio City, when the vibe is so strong and it's literally flowing through everybody in the crowd and everybody on the
Whoo!
stage. I mean, you can't
Holy
deny that either.
moly.
You know what I mean?
Holy
Hey,
moly.
Peter did
anyway-
say the best show
Hey,
of our
man.
lives.
Hey, man.
So this was a family affair. So it was my wife's first show, my 7-year-old boy's first show.
Yeah.
Kev can give the stats on his family, but I
for
think
my
it might
wife,
have been
that was
first shows.
3 shows for my wife. First Goose show for my
she did Montana.
son. She did.
So yeah, and then we had other Haps was there, had the family and
Katie.
the son. So yeah, I mean lots of so we had some kids around. So we were playing it cool, but we're also super pumped and
Kept them away from
another
Chop.
situation where there was there was just a lot of great people all around.
Was this
us.
after Chop shaved his mustache?
Yeah, we cut in for that explicit reason. We kept the kids away from him.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that was the right call or not. I mean, it's like Uncle Chop kind of has a ring to it. You know what I mean? So everybody, I mean, expectations are high. I mean, everybody's really, really getting ready. So first set, boom, Hunger Site opener. So I mean, everybody's immediately just saying, "Oh yeah, it's on." You know what I mean? Hunger Site, Silver Rising, Tumble, Seekers in the spot that we always say it should be. So you gotta respect that. Animal Arcadia. So I mean, from a song selection standpoint, that this is part of why I have this show in my top 10 is that's just an incredibly strong set. The Hunger Site had a really strong jam, not incredible improv, but just out of the gate, just crushed it. Hunger Site, Silver Rising, boom, nice tumble. Seekers, boom, in the setting that we were in, perfect choice. Animal gets everybody moving. And then Arcadia, phenomenal. Again, not this was no recreation of the Mission Ballroom Arcadia, but this was, I mean, we want to talk about Type 1 Arcadias, this one's going to be right up there with anything that they've done. I mean, it was just powerhouse ending. I mean, I thought that was, I was super, super, super stoked about that set. I mean, just loved it.
Really, yeah, I agree. Really, really strong first set, and we get the return of the jagged churn jam a little bit in that tumble there, which I think is the improvisational highlight of the show, in my opinion, personally at least.
Agreed.
I would say it's a really, really strong set, but not really that above average, which is why this show doesn't make my top 10.
But it was above average.
It's really good.
Not above average, but it was above average.
I'm gonna have to boo you on this.
Yeah,
one,
it was
Ryan.
above average.
I mean, that's about as good of a first set as they can play.
Thank you.
It's got everything that Goose does in a set. You've got like Silver Rising, Seekers, like kind of like the slower balladish type tunes. You've got Hunger Site, new song, absolutely spectacular. Tumble, old song that they absolutely crush. Animal, new song that like gets everybody moving. And Arcadia, all in the same set. That's a killer Goose set.
Very good set.
I said it that night, and I'm not going to back off on it. This is like one of my favorite set lists I think I've seen. And this first set is a good reason for it. I mean, there's some stuff in the second set, which we'll talk about, that like absolutely knocked my socks off. But and there's some reasons to kind of draw back from that second set. But man, I absolutely love this set. I do. I think it's way better than average.
And then Ryan, real quick, what was the you mentioned for Dylan Night 2, that second set having 7 songs? What was the gap from the last time that they did that?
I for this show?
No, you were talking about Dylan Night 2.
It was just it was back to Seattle in February 5th. Not sure the exact number of shows.
Because they did that twice at Red Rocks in both sets.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't look at for
Stats
first
and
sets
facts.
there. But yes,
Stats and facts. Happy tears.
Yeah.
They did 8. Hey, they did 8 songs in the second set the next night. So
well,
I mean,
we're not there yet. We're not there yet. I've got a stat on that, but we're not there yet.
Whoa.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about.
Whoa.
Let's finish talking about Red Rocks. Let's go second set here.
I thought the first set was great too. Yeah, I think there was. I mean, I can see some critiques, but what you guys are saying too is definitely, and more for myself on hindsight, quality of the set creation, song structure. Yeah, it was pretty perfect. Great tumble, very high energy, and with Seekers, just that bass on the rocks. Arcadia finish was just bombastic as well, and that's just sort of what I mean. There was only one song that was missing from this whole show, but we'll talk about that too. But I really like the set.
When you talk about you talk about that huge energy from that Arcadia, I'm not trying to steal Beast Thunder if you want to talk about what happened at set break transitioning into that set too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, good call, because I actually totally spaced that.
Drop the bomb, man.
So during set break, they played the Goose video that ended up on YouTube. And so it's kind of a fun video, it's like, it's got the Goose stuff going on. And then boom, it just throws up in huge black text on a white background, Goose December 17th, First Bank Center, Broomfield, Colorado. So what was so cool is that, like, because a video was playing, a lot of the crowd was actually watching it. Like a fair amount of the crowd was watching that video. So it had everyone's attention. And then when Broomfield and the date popped up, the whole fucking place like erupted. It was pretty cool.
I mean, fucking erupted,
not sure
man.
I've seen I'm not sure I've seen anything quite like that. You know what I mean? Just like, that's a great fucking idea too, by the way. I mean, just like dropping an announcement at set break like that. I mean, people were buying tickets on their phone, because then tickets were on sale immediately. So tons of people at the show and watching the stream started buying tickets that night. You know what I mean? So yeah, you get people in the mood. Everybody's already in the mood because you just dropped that set 1 on them. So yeah, boom, drop this Goose date. Everybody's on their phone buying tickets. Yeah.
Man.
So anyway,
I was thirsty as fuck. I dropped $4.50 on VIPs. So
man,
yeah,
from Massachusetts,
all 5 of us are going to be there. It's going to be very exciting.
Plug.
Sorry to cut you off, Pete.
No, that's just more marketing genius, from the team. So good stuff there. Yeah. So set 2, spoiler alert, they didn't fucking play Dripfield. But here's what they did play. So just keep in mind with every one of these songs that they did not play Dripfield, but they did play all these songs. So Arrow, Blood Buzz, Ohio, the national cover, Fish in the Sea, Fat Freddy's drop cover, Redbird, Milestone 2, Skuxlike, Moniker. So that's another cover. And then Slow Ready Empress, and then Elmeg Encore. So a lot of covers mixed in. I think that's probably what, in the moment kind of started to stand out to me. When they did, I was super, super psyched to hear Blood Buzz, Ohio. I'm not an expert on the national, but it was a familiar song to me, and it was just a really awesome song. So that was great. And since then, I will tell you that I have listened to this song probably as much as anything else I've listened to from that run that I went to. Like, that's how much I like this cover. And then when they went right into Fish in the Sea, I scratched my head. I will admit, I scratched my head a little bit and was kind of looking around being like, oh man, like Red Rocks, set 2, like back-to-back covers. Well, but it's Fish in the Sea, right? So we'll roll with it. And then Redbird, which I think we all knew was coming. And it was good. It was good. Not not an incredible version that I think we're going to be talking about in other conversations, but fun song. A lot of these, this is my first run of 2022. So, I mean, this is my first time seeing all these new songs. So, I mean, I was super psyched to see them play Redbird live, doing all the Straight Burden, stuff with the fellas. And
yeah, we got a chorus.
So, yeah,
of us recorded.
again, vibes were super high. So, I mean, so it was all good. This Milestone 2 stuff, I didn't know anything about it. I didn't recognize it at all. I still don't really know much about it. There's a movie. I haven't watched it. I kind of skip it. But anyway, then just kind of feeling like we didn't even know if that was a cover actually, because we were so clueless as to what it was. You know what I mean?
Because they sound checked at night too, right? At Dylan.
Yep, I thought I remember that, Kev, walking in when we were walking in.
Yep.
So anyway, I mean, you know, when we did catch wind that it was a cover, I mean, I was just scratching my head again, just kind of thinking, hey, man, you know, I mean, milestone, like I get it, you know, but just felt like a lot. Just felt like a lot of time spent on covers. And then I started looking at my phone at the time, thinking to myself, okay, well then Dripfield's coming next, right? And then we just kind of kept going, Slow Ready, Empress, and then they came out to Encore, and we're all going, yeah, get ready for that Dripfield, let's go. And we got Elmeg, which makes sense, you know what I mean? Like it's a good song too. But yeah, we definitely kind of felt, and we saw the printed set list after, and obviously it had Dripfield on there, it had Creatures on there as well. So yeah, just, you know, again, I mean, just a good stuff. That the Aero Jam was long, and I'll wrap this up. But the Aero Jam was long, but you know, like a lot of Aero Jams, I think that we've talked about before with this group, where it's like, yeah, I mean, you know, they do long arrows for sure, and really like the Blood Buzz. Fish in the Sea is always a great cover. Just in a set with two other covers, I'm just not so sure. Redbird would have taken the Milestone 2 time and or the Fish in the Sea time and thrown it onto a Redbird jam maybe. Mm-hmm. Slow Ready, I think we knew that was coming. So really great and fun to see that in that venue. Empress is always good, but I feel like at this point they chose Empress over Dripfield. You know what I mean? And I just don't, I don't know. It's just questionable to me. I mean, I just feel like I think you throw Dripfield into this set and I'd have this show even higher.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And Elmeg had a really nice kind of long jam to it.
Aero Jam.
Yeah. It kind of felt a little bit, we talked about that night. Yeah, you're right, D. I mean, it felt a little bit maybe too similar to the Aero Jam. But all in all, I mean, look, I don't want to dampen this too much because it was a killer set at a killer venue. For the most part, still good song selection. It's just really hard for me because I wanted to see Dripfield so bad, and I kind of felt like I was getting it. That it was just a no-brainer. So I just was really sad about that. It made me sad.
But it's number 8 on his list, guys.
6.
So yeah, no, I mean, happy.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great set. So I mean, taking out the covers and just looking at the stuff that they did play that are originals. So you have Arrow, Redbird, Slow Ready, Empress, right?
Oh my God.
And if that's in a set, that's an amazing set, right? So forget the covers for a moment and just think about those songs. That's an absolutely killer set. The one thing that's missing when I say that is maybe more new shit, right? So that's where like the kind of like, I wish there was a Dripfield there. But, you know, on the surface, not knowing that they could have played Dripfield, let's say they played it the night before, right? And it wasn't on the table. This is a killer set. And then we wouldn't be left wanting for that Dripfield. But the other thing I have to say about this set is Blood Buzz Ohio absolutely crushed. I am a huge National fan. I took a long time off of jam music, you know, about 10 years ago. And all I listened to was, you know, bands like the National. And the National, the record this is on is like one of my most listened to records. So I absolutely lost my mind when they played this cover. It's spectacular. And then, you know, an Elmeg Encore, whether or not the jam, you find the jam to be spectacular, it's incredibly rare and it's a really, really cool song. You know, again, this set list for this show, I think is great if you kind of take it for what it is without thinking about what they could have played.
Neal, I agree with that like 100%. Like I did not know Blood Buzz Ohio. I didn't know the National. So like listening to this set in the moment, I didn't know the song, but at the same time, like the flow of the set I thought was seamless. Like it just kind of flowed. With the Fish in the Sea cover, like B, I was looking around and people were just vibing. Like everybody was just into it. I thought it was, you know, yeah, it was the second cover in a row, but people were vibing. People were into it.
Awesome. I think that about covers Red Rocks.
Yeah.
So now for Vegas, after a day off after Red Rocks, we've got Turbulence in the Night Race to open up. Doc Brown, Atlas Dogs, back to the Indie Groove version. Marie's the Name, his latest Flame, an Elvis cover, played for the first time since Montana at Pine Creek Lodge, an 81 show gap. That is a bust out, in fact. There are a couple of bust outs over the next couple of shows, covers, to be exact. Followed by Earthlinger Alien and Jive 1, Jive Lead to close the set. Really, the only standout of this set is the Earthling, was just kind of going. This show was the debut of Rick's sunglasses. I would say the infamous sunglasses, if you will. I don't know what the story behind those sunglasses are, but they're dangerous. You know, they would come back again, but those are dangerous. There's a GIF floating around Twitter somewhere. But they're dangerous. But this is a cool Earthling. Not quite on the level of the Chrysalis one, but still cool and unique nonetheless. Gets to some dark-ish places. Otherwise, just, you know, kind of solid first set. You know, Elvis cover because they're in Vegas. There would be another one in the second set, but solid. This show did kind of debunk the Doc Brown in the two-hole theory, but, you know.
It's an anomaly.
That sounds painful.
You know, the Earthlinger Alien in this show, also good. I took some heat for saying that Earthlinger Alien is a jam vehicle now. Some people were upset by that comment, but I stand by it.
Own it, Neal.
Yeah, I'm owning it. I mean, dude, well, if you know me by now, I own everything I say. I don't back off. But this one was it was a really cool jam. I mean, they kind of like launch into this thing that almost sounds like a Dr. Darkness jam, which is like pretty cool, and then kind of like lowered it down to almost silence. And then, I mean, I can listen to Trevor playing like synthy whole notes like all day long, which is kind of what he did for a whole stretch of this jam. And then the really cool part, I think, was right towards the end, where Peter got on the guitar for this and then hit basically every delay pedal he had all at the same time. It's the only way I can describe it. It was like somebody like took like the edge from U2 and like ran that through delay. And like it was just absurd the amount of delay that was going on in this jam.
The only prescription is more delay pedals.
So much fucking delay. But the jam that resulted from that was very, very good. I enjoyed the hell out of that Earthlinger Alien. As far as the rest of the set, Turbulence, always good. Doc Brown in the 2 slot usually is an indicator of a fire show. I don't think that was the case in this particular show.
And we get Atlas Dogs going back to the indie groove arrangement, which not ideal, but
played precisely.
We hope that we hope that the original one comes back. Yeah. Anyone else have anything else to add on this first set?
So as far as like jam analysis, there's not a lot for us here, right? These songs played in Nevada for an audience, a lot of folks from even what we saw, not a lot of folks in the audience that we know that, we've seen before at Goose shows. So it's awesome to see all these new people, checking out Goose and getting these, succinct shows and getting some tastes of the jamming that they can do, but really, getting some great songs played precisely.
Well, all right. Guess we'll head to the second set here. I do want to add a funny anecdote. So I fell asleep during Jive Lee because this was, very, very late for me on the East Coast. But I fell asleep during Jive Lee.
You have a history of falling asleep.
Yes,
we should preface.
I do. I have a tendency to fall asleep during shows. But I then woke up during the Don't Be Cruel second set opener. And the first thing I saw when I opened my eyes was the Elvis impersonator on stage singing the song. And my brain just did not process what it was. I was like, who, what is happening? What am I seeing? Then it took me like a minute. Then I was like, oh, I slept through set break. This is the second set now. But so for set 2, we have an 8-song second set. The last time that happened was Aspen, November 19th, 2021. So more interesting.
Water flows like wine.
More interesting stats. But so we have Don't Be Cruel to open up. We have Butter Rum, All I Need, Flow Down, Spirit of the Dark Horse, Mascanada, 726, White Lights with a Jive 2 encore. So we do have the whole Slick Rick's Jive triptych in this show.
Ooh.
Slick
Yeah,
Rick's jam.
yeah. The fifth
Fifth ever?
known to
Ooh.
date. Yeah. So we had January 31st, 2019, November 11th, 2019, November 13th, 2021, May 8th, 2021, and now August 20th, 2022. So 5 times we've gotten all 3 jives, the triptych, in one show. But we've only had one perfect triptych, which is triptych in order in the same set.
Which is November 13th, 2021,
You got it.
correct?
You got it.
Yes.
That's right.
But yeah, it's a solid set. As Kev mentioned, great if it's your first show, like getting a taste of a lot of different sides of Goose. I would say there's nothing really in this set that I'm going to come back to. Nice to see Dark Horse, especially in the original arrangement, making its way into regular rotation. Otherwise, ready to move on to LA.
I
this
would
butter
just
rum,
I
though?
would just make one quick note.
Rum it up.
The All I Need was, and I was having somebody sent something on Twitter today kind of praising this All I Need, and I actually did go back and listen to it because of that tweet. And I kind of admitted that a lot of All I Needs without the second jam I do tend to just kind of discard a little bit. But this is it's only 11 minutes long, but this is a really hot little first All I Need jam, and it does build to a really nice peak. So that's probably the highlight of this show for me.
Nice admission on the jam blinders, B.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about this that night, though, where like we were so excited, or I was so excited about that All I Need. And I was like, oh, this is it. Like, this is, this All I Need is going to go somewhere big. And it was just like, boom, flow down. Which was kind of a bummer. I really wish.
It's like the opposite of going somewhere big.
Yeah, exactly. Why sacrifice that second All I Need jam? I don't get it. I do love Masquerade.
Vegas, baby.
Anytime they play it. This one gets actually kind of cool and like dissonant. Usually Masquerade is like kind of like a peppy cover. So, as far as Masquerades go, this is an interesting version that's kind of worth checking out. And of course, the OG Dark Horse.
They kill that cover every time they play it, man.
Yeah, it's an awesome cover.
Hey,
Absolutely
guess what I did?
Cover.
Guess what I did halfway through Masquerade?
You fell asleep.
I fell asleep.
How do you fall asleep during Masquerade?
That's twice.
Because it was like 2:30 in the morning.
That's twice if you're keeping track at home.
The show ended at 3:15 a.m. Eastern time. I was just.
I don't know if I'd be sharing my lack of dedication.
Yeah.
Hey.
You ask a lot of us.
If I wasn't dedicated, I would have fallen asleep in bed. Instead, I fell asleep on the floor in my basement.
There you go.
So I think that's dedication.
Put the bottle down, man.
Remarkable candor.
So LA.
Is this Goose's first time having an opener?
No.
What? No.
I mean, I can't imagine that's true.
I feel like they've co-headlined with some, other bands before, especially in 2019. But
yeah,
they did have the Pigeons close for them.
Yes.
Yeah, they had the Pigeons close for them on the tour. But is this their first time having an opener, like as having support booked for one of their shows?
Like in recent times, yes. I can't imagine if you go as far back as 2017 that they didn't have openers.
Vexed by history.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't say definitively, but let's talk about the set list, hey?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, there you go.
About time.
So
let's get her going.
So, this is at the Greek, which it would be cool if we had somebody who was actually there, because it's a pretty spectacular venue that I think has a lot of history with a lot of great bands, and pretty picturesque too. So that has that going for it. But so set one, we had California Magic, Echo of a Rose, Rockdale, Western Sun, Pancakes, In Your Eyes with Lucius, aka Goose, and then Slow Ready, also Goose. And this set, that's a lot of awesome songs. In terms of set list, this is pretty freaking spectacular. But the only thing that I think stands out for me in this set is that Slow Ready, which I think put that shit on wax. It's like amazing, and it should be released just the way it is. They executed that so incredibly well, and I think for the rest of the set, they also executed it really well. In Your Eyes, I think maybe wasn't as good as I had hoped it was going to be. I think Rick's singing voice was spectacular in it, but the backing vocals, I don't know, didn't do it for me as much as like they did on Slow Ready. But yeah, otherwise, jam-wise, there's not much to talk about in the set, even though they played a bunch of big kind of jam tunes.
Fantastic.
That's it? Nobody has anything to say about the set?
The Slow Ready is really cool. Yeah. More stats. First In Your Eyes in 80 shows.
Was that from Eau Claire too?
No, from Denver. Sculpture
Denver,
Park.
sorry. Yep.
Would love to see it return in that fashion with a nice jam.
Yeah, just go listen to that Denver one.
That's a 7/9/21.
Yep, that's
great.
Right.
really, really great. All right.
If you want to hear Goose play In Your Eyes, go listen.
And then just real quick, I would echo, what I said for Nevada. Like it's, if you like Goose, you're being introduced to Goose for the first time. I mean, this is your show. You're getting a bunch of songs played succinctly, precisely, and you're getting a good sampling of what they do.
And I will never complain about seeing the Driptych.
Nope.
This was the 2-set festival show.
Right.
Sure.
I was joking like in chat that night that like we were watching Goose's major label showcase, which like it kind of does feel like it. They went out there and like played, most of their best songs in a way that was like super digestible, right? Yeah. So
Teach 2.0.
What they call that? You know what they call that? That's Banger Sunday right there.
Banger Sunday.
Greek got the Dripfield. I don't know.
Yeah, bangers without the bang, I guess. So set 2 had Madavon, Born, into Hunger Sight, into Dripfield. So there's the Driptych. Oof. And then Hot Tea Closer with Jason Hahn from String Cheese Incident playing percussion. And also Jeff got booted off the stage for that. So there's no Jeff. It was a 4-man Goose plus Jason Hahn. Which is just a crime, really.
Yeah. He normally picks up Peter's guitar when someone sits in on percussion, so I wonder why he didn't. Guess he was like, there's 10 minutes left. I'll just, see what it's like to watch a Goose show.
Should have found a saxophone.
I think he welcomed the opportunity to hop backstage, grab a fresh one, fucking
start the party.
What?
Cash the check.
A freshie.
Cash the check. Well, yeah, I'll never complain seeing Born, Hunger Sight, Dripfield on a set list.
Never.
Again, 2-set festival performance. Otherwise, nothing else I think we need to really talk about in this set.
Yeah, I'm ready to move on.
Let me tell you, the clock management from them was much better 4 days later in Portland than it was in LA.
Yep.
Yeah, they had the opener, so that makes it tough.
And it was a Sunday night.
To be fair, they only took a 27-minute set break.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they cut...
Find the reasons.
Yeah, they cut, 8 minutes off their normal set break to give people a little bit more, so...
35-minute average, B?
That was a low... That was definitely a short show, among the shortest of the year.
Sacrifices.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm fucking stoked to talk about logins. So
yes,
go right.
Return of the logins. No I'm danger excited. Zone. But return of the logins.
So on August 23rd, we had stop at Harrah's in State Line, Nevada, or just outside Tahoe, if I'm correct there. So pretty close. Supposed to be a nice little place. So set 1, as those Ryan and Neal were mentioning, we get the return of Loggins with the I'm All Right opener into Make the Move, followed by a nice beefy Lead the Way, fan favorite Life on the Shelf in the middle set slot, and then a big Animal.
Jaminal.
Followed by Travelers and Yeti to close the set. I'm despite the cheesiness, definitely love some Loggins. We were missing the Danger Zone, as Ryan referenced, but for the Loggins Triptych. But I think given the setting, Nevada casino setting seems right. And then good Lead the Way. Always loved Lead the Way jams. This one had a little bit extra from Rick, and a little bit, some great guitar work from him. Animal just showing up again though with a 20-minute, so this is do we have 3 now that's long?
2.
Or just the 2?
2.
Yeah, just the 2. Yep. And then some other shorter ones. But it's good to see that they can put some length on it. And it's not that it was just the first one for me, that this one also had a little bit, it didn't find as many of the similar sort of jam styles that sort of got stuck in the debut. And yeah, I love the Travelers, high energy Yeti to close. I solid set, high, good energy. Anybody else had some thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I just to say something a little bit different. I mean, I would probably say that I thought this was just an okay set. I mean, and I prefer the debut Animal Jam over this one. I thought, but I mean, I don't know. I think the first one's quite a bit better. And yeah, and it's like Lead the Way. I love Lead the Way, but I feel like it oftentimes gets stuck in sets like this. You know what I mean? Where it's not
like could be highlighted better.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, because I look at these sets and I'm like, yeah, I mean, Lead the Way actually might have been my highlight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it was my highlight too. Yeah, that's my highlight.
And so you just look around and, there's just not a lot of competition for that. So, and I do like seeing Travelers kind of pick it up a little bit in terms of like frequency of play. So I do like to see that. But yeah, it's you gotta get the logins in there, and you gotta get the shelf in there once in a while, and so I get it. You know what I mean? It's Yeti, and close it out. Try to pump everybody back up, but
yeah, it's not. It definitely is overshadowed by the second set, rightfully so. I think this sort of encapsulates a little bit more of some of what the band used to be too, with some of the covers like that and
old school for sure. Yeah,
I think
for sure. 19,
I really like the Lead the Way.
Or 19.
I really like this Lead the Way. I think it's a great jam. I do agree with B in the sense that it does, tend to get stuck in sets like this. But really, really nice, patient build from them. Peter on keys for a little while. Really, really nice. This is I'm All Right and Make the Moves longest gap since its debut at 89 shows. So that's pretty crazy for more
for anybody that was wondering.
For more stats. Yeah, for anyone curious. And I prefer this Animal to the debut. I find the Legend Valley one to be not really attention holding.
Yeah, that's how I feel
but this
too,
one,
right?
this one I'm grooving. I'm a fan. Again, not making it very high on my playlist if it makes it at all, but still very, very enjoyable. Nice clav. I'm
New
a big
crowd
fan.
favorite too. I think a lot of people were talking about it at Red Rocks, so it's definitely
something. I think you're not going to get very many complaints when you drop Animal. And I wanted to talk a little bit about this at some point.
Hook.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about this at some point on the pod. We talked about it briefly on social media recently, but Goose doesn't really have many songs that if they need like a quick set closer, if they need a quick encore, if they need to, they've got 5 minutes left to just drop a song. They don't really have many songs in the catalog that they can do that with without it feeling truncated. And so while Animal is a great jammer, I think leaving it as a 5-minute set closer, the majority of the time is its best role, personally. I think, they need to expand the catalog a little bit of shorter, high-energy songs that can fill that slot. That's just, how I feel, at least.
The 6 minutes at Red Rocks was fitting, personally.
Yeah, what do you guys think about that?
I think going back to, whatever these guys feel like in terms of like experimentation, we talked about it earlier, like sometimes they're playing and, Arrow is a great example of this happening in terms of a song where they'll go on these jams and sometimes they'll play on repetitive themes and sometimes it doesn't go anywhere, but they always take that chance. So for them to play any sort of song, like even Animal with its like, tight hook that everybody wants to sing, and kind of jump up and down to, whatever they feel comfortable experimenting within. Like, I'm a big fan of that, even if like right now we only have a couple versions that give us an example of where it could go. I'm still comfortable with them taking those chances anytime they get.
Well, so the only thing I would add to that conversation is I I do like the fact that those two jammed out animals were spread apart a little bit, and they had those kind of quick hit versions in the middle. I didn't really say much. I don't think I actually said anything at all about Vegas set one, but I felt like that Earthling Aurelian in Vegas just came too soon after Chrysalis. And, I just kind of felt like you can't try to do that every time with some of these songs. You know what I mean? Because I didn't enjoy the Vegas Earthling nearly as much as Chrysalis. I mean, it's night and day to me, and that stuck in my head. I kind of had that thought of like, oh man, you tried to knock it out of the park like 2 times in 5 days or whatever it was. You know what I mean? Like,
you flew too close to the sun.
Yeah, just like, so that's what I like about the Animals. Like, big jam when they debuted, but then they just chilled out with it and just like focused on the song and the hooks and the energy and all that stuff. And then after a few more plays, then boom, okay, now let's try again and see where this might go. You know what I mean? So I just think there's something to be said to that, not every song is fit to be, taken deep every time. Maybe some
That's
songs
fair.
really, really do deserve, just taking a step back for maybe a few plays in a row even, and then go back. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that.
I think one of the things that sets this band apart from like other jam bands is that they can actually really, truly execute a song incredibly well as a song in and of itself, as a performance. We've talked about this before.
Doesn't need the jam.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know if like it needs to be 5 minutes. Like I don't need radio edits. But I think we were talking about this on one podcast where like Peter was saying they really dug the This Old Sea they did, I think in San Fran.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was all about like his feeling about how well they executed that song, right?
Precise.
It wasn't about like how well they jammed it out or anything like that. Like they felt like they nailed that tune. So yeah, I mean, there doesn't have to be jams there. Yeah. Sometimes they can just like show up and just play a song really well. Precisely, some might say.
Precisely.
Yeah. And, it can be great. I don't know. So, we've talked a really long time about a set that doesn't really deserve to be talked about that long.
So
we're talking about Animal here, not the set.
Yeah, we are talking about Animal. Yeah,
and,
for sure.
And it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But
all right, so set 2 then. So yeah, for set 2, we have Drive that was truncated into Dr. Darkness, followed by a nice Rosewood Heart, Creatures, SOS Closer, and a Bob Don So Ready encore. So yeah, definitely a little bit of a change here. And Drive opener, always enjoy it. A little bit of a disappointment, of course, with to go into Dr. Darkness right away personally, but hey, trying something different. Seems they're cutting down on the drives, which, it's okay. I mean, it's like something I'd maybe like to see in Arrow, for instance. So, hey, that's all right if we're going to shorten it and combine it. Rosewood Heart and Creatures, obviously the sort of meat and highlight of the set. Not my favorite Rosewood, maybe compared to the rest of the year, but showing its length after, of course, we saw a shorter version in Dylan, which I liked. Having that variance, as we're talking about, is nice. So seeing songs that can be 10 to 12 minutes and then 22 to 25 minutes. Solid Creatures, high energy, and then a SOS Closer. I mean, I think in terms of set list, very good set list for a second set, and then a solid encore. I thought they turned the tide pretty well to sort of wrap this up.
Yeah, I'm with you, D. Like the set list reads great. I think in terms of execution, probably not so great.
Yeah, not the best jams, but
yeah, I mean, like if you're looking for like a set 2 at a show, this is the set list you want to see. But like, there's really nothing that grabs you. That Rosewood Heart is about as straightforward of a Rosewood Heart as you can get, even though it was 20 minutes. Same thing with Creatures in this particular situation. And then, SOS Closer, like I'm sure it's probably a really great show to be at. SOS always kills. So
yeah, it won't be one I'm flying back to, but I think also, and I admit, I mean, it's okay to talk about. I think the band, this is a decent amount of shows in a short amount of time with a lot of travel too. So I think that starts to wear eventually.
And I also, if I can add just a little bit to that, I think sometimes we get caught up in, again, the jam analysis of things, and sometimes they're not always playing shows for us. Like they're always, they're always hitting people with these shows. They're hitting new fans with the approach that they're taking. It's just not always what would make us 100% happy to see.
I try to listen with the ears of a new fan.
I love it, B. That's so gentle. That's so gentle
nice
and
of you.
authentic. Yes.
So the only thing that I would add about this set was, man, they encored Bob Don, and then maybe the shortest ever So Ready. And I'm pretty sure that was Neal's 6-pointer that night. Oh,
Yeah, it
man, I
was.
was burning
Yeah.
when they played that. I thought that was a turning point to the end of the season. And
Was
that
it though?
I wouldn't,
Was it?
and that I wouldn't ultimately come back and win the championship, which is what ended up happening. But
Oh.
that that will be my memory of that show, though, is that that fucking Neal's 6-point So Ready as a second encore. You got to be kidding me.
I was asleep for that, for the record.
Still counts.
That was that the show, Neal, where you were like, oh, I can't stay up late tonight, I'm going to bed, and then you were still awake when the second set started?
It's like every show. That's every West
I think it was
Coast
like
show.
every show this tour, actually. I said that. Pretty sure. Whereas like,
And
yeah,
then
I'm
he
gonna
and
do the
I would be the only
responsible
people.
thing,
Then
go
he
to
and
bed.
I would be the only people watching the second set.
Hey, I think Vegas was the only one that I fell asleep for.
I'm
Twice.
calling bullshit on that.
All right.
Hey,
Twice.
So
all right,
Portland.
let's Portland.
So yeah, as we transition to Pioneer Square, Portland, Oregon, that was August 25th, 2022. This was a highly reviewed show by the hotel that was very close to the venue. Set one.
Yes.
Set one had us opening up with an Indian River that turned into I don't know if I want to call this a rarity by Ryan standards here, but Elizabeth, a fairly frequent Turbulence in the Night Rays, which I'm never going to get tired of. I love hearing it every time they play it. Into Butterflies, The Old Man's Boat, Time to Flee, and the set closes out with a tumble. What do y'all think?
Great set. We talked about this live the other day, but really like, the jam that Elizabeth got into, really like the jam that Flea got into. Turbulence and Butterflies being together, great pairing. As we said, kind of some Flea jam themes popping up in Elizabeth. That nice breezy 80s rendition of Indian River, just
80 synth.
solid set.
I got nothing to add.
Yep.
If you would like to hear us go more in depth on this show, check out Always Almost There Live, available wherever you get your podcasts.
And then
YouTube.
in set two, we had Wisteria Lane opening up. Hapster on Twitter's favorite cover, Please Forgive Me, a David Gray original. Seekers 1, Seekers 2, set 2. Lots of people prefer that in set 1. Empress of Organos, and then a 726 with everybody's favorite, and this is going to bring us full circle back to the sign, an Escape, Rupert Holmes' Pina Colada song closer.
I'm not even going to talk about the sign.
B.
I'm not
I want to
even
hear
going
your
to talk about the
thoughts.
sign.
I want to hear your
Someone
thoughts.
Someone must have
Thoughts?
found his sign in your backpack, huh, B?
Nice,
On your...
nice Wisteria. Yeah, again, I mean, like Ryan said, we talked about this a little bit already, but really solid Wisteria. I'm a big fan of Please Forgive Me. Again, I just feel like this run of shows that we're talking about tonight, there's a lot of really good cover choices. So huge Please Forgive Me fan. Seekers set 2, yeah, you know what I mean? It's like they gave us the set 1 Seekers at Red Rocks, but then they went right back to the set 2 Seekers here. So I don't know. I think that's where they like it. And then another strong Empress. This is actually probably, definitely an above average Empress. Maybe my probably top 3 of the year. Some cool stuff. Extended Trevor bass solo, and then kind of a little bonus jam before they brought it back home. And so, yeah, this was a really nice version. Closing out with 726, great. And this is just another one of those situations where 2-show gap for 726 after kind of, making us wait for it for a while. So that was kind of nice too. And then, yeah, I mean, that was pretty much the end of it.
Well, there was an encore.
That was it?
Escape, the Pina Colada song by
I got nothing
there?
in my spreadsheet. I've got just a 726.
Hate on the song as much as you will. If you listen long enough to hear the guitar by Rick, it was worth the listen. IMO.
I think the most notable part about this show is the like semi-viral tweet by some random dude who was staying at a hotel nearby,
Yes.
which you alluded to earlier, Kevin, where the guy was just like, "Man, Escape sucks," and like it got
We
traction.
know you like pina coladas.
Yeah, the dude didn't like jam bands, and then he didn't like the most ironic song that a jam band would play either. So like that dude just didn't like anything.
Yeah, he didn't like anything.
He used to have any fun, you know.
And I think it got some traction. I think because Escape is like a pretty divisive cover, even amongst people who really like jam music, right?
Wow.
So I'm not going to name any names, but like, yeah, like there were a lot of people who were like this guy like just like shit on jam bands, but then was like fuck Escape, and then like everybody's like, yeah, fuck Escape, and like. So there's like a million retweets because I think people just like, kind of grabbed on that. I mean, people hating on Goose on Twitter is nothing new, right? But when somebody hates on Goose in a way that like you actually agree with, like, it gets a retweet, so that's what happened here.
All right. So let's should we move on?
Taking the reins to Sacred Rose.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about it.
So in addition to Sacred Rose, I mean, I don't want to completely just skip over Thing Festival and not mention it.
The Thing.
I mean, obviously, none of us have heard a lick of music from this show, but they did also on Friday, August 26th, in Port Townsend, Washington, right outside of Seattle. They did the Thing Festival. So it was scheduled for an hour and 15 minutes. And they managed to get through Rockdale, Silver Rising, Hungerside, Western Sun, Turnclouds, Redbird, Slow Ready, and Arcadia.
Playing the hits.
75 minutes. So we're not expecting too much, improv from that show. Not quite a jam band festival.
Indie
so
groove.
I think, yeah. So I think some of us, kind of called that right with our picks. And we were expecting things like, some of the hits, some of the quick hits, things like that. So
some of us didn't.
Yeah. Some people thought maybe another Father John Misty guest appearance with the same exact song that he just guested for a couple months ago. But
some might have 8-pointed that.
8 pointers, baby.
Some might have YOLO 8-pointed that.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah.
I already lost.
So
it's okay.
and then the tour closer, the Dripfield Summer Tour closer. Closing the tour at a festival, which was the Sacred Rose Music Festival in Bridgeview, Illinois. We're not even going to talk about the festival itself and all the problems. It sounded a bit like a shit show.
Only on day 3, though, man. It seemed
like the sound bleed. I mean, I don't know, man. The whole thing. Yeah, the whole thing sounded bad.
Okay, I'm done.
I did hear some positive remarks on bathroom lines and beer lines and things like that. So that's good. You know what I mean? Like you got to get everything right, though. We can't have two stages right next to each other. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can't have two bands playing at a basement party. You know what I mean?
Can't charge $3,000 for 3 beers.
Yep.
So set list real quick. So, I mean, this one, it just came out guns a-blazing. Pancakes, Matavan, Born, Arrow, Don't Do It with Margot Price, and Hot Tea with Corey Wong, and then Dripfield because, sometimes when you're expecting Dripfield, they play Dripfield. So that's cool. It's good. I was happy for.
Yeah. Are you a little bit sad you didn't see Dripfield?
So they were on the Dreamfield.
We haven't noticed.
They were on the Dreamfield stage. So, it's like the Dripfield Summer Tour closer on the Dreamfield stage. That was the easiest, probably 8 points anybody had. So
whatever.
I actually had T at 8 points.
T was the easiest 8 points. Dripfield was my easiest 7 points.
Whoa.
There we go.
So, great set. Still haven't really heard, a really good recording of this yet. I think there is an audience recording up. I haven't spent a lot of time with it, but it kind of felt to me like the Pancakes, the Matavan, the Arrow were all like pretty upbeat. And, this was a little bit of a dance party and everyone was having a great time. Born, kind of in the mix there, just the straightforward 7-minute Born. Just getting the album track out there. It's a great song. Don't Do It. Margot Price came out. I don't know. I mentioned this the other day too on the pod, on the live pod, that when they announced her coming out, I was really and the first thing that popped in my head was California Magic, and so then I just couldn't stop thinking about how awesome that would have been with her. I felt like the Don't Do It was just okay, to be honest, but that was just my opinion. And again, I haven't heard very good audio of this. Hot Tea with Corey Wong sounds great. I'd like to really hear this one cleaned up and hear more what, kind of Corey and Rick were doing, especially. So, and then pretty straightforward Dripfield closer. So yeah, I mean, Sacred Rose. Yeah, I mean, I also felt like I heard more Sound Tribe Sector 9 than I've heard in about 20 years.
I really liked the Hot Tea with Corey. As you said, I'm very much looking forward to hearing that and soundboard quality.
Wong Gang.
Wong Gang. I think his rhythm guitar very, very nicely complemented the band.
Yeah, if all the bullshit rumors that you see on like Nugs comments are true that Peter's leaving the band.
Oh no!
Let's hope it's Corey Wong that replaces him.
Bite your tongue.
Actually, kidding aside, of course we never want Peter to leave. Man,
and the bullshit rumors are exactly that bullshit.
Yeah,
rumors.
they are exactly that. But makes sense to address it, seeing how people are actually talking about it. But yeah, I mean, like that Hot Tea.
Oh well, hold on one second, Neal. I was on mute. I actually hadn't heard those rumors because I don't read Nugs reviews.
Oh,
we know you read the group chat though. We know you read the group chat.
Yeah,
sometimes.
In any case, yeah, man, Corey Wong out there for Hot Tea. That was spectacular. I really want to hear it cleaned up, like I've said, and hear, maybe kind of the intricacies of what they were doing. But I mean, he added some stuff to Hot Tea guitar wise that I don't think I've ever heard before. And that was really exciting. So, I mean, he jazzed it up a little bit. I think I was joking at the time when we were listening to it, on the stream there, that like he was going to like out Berkeley Rick, which it did sound like it for like a minute there, where he got like pretty jazzy. So it was pretty cool. I enjoyed
that was
it.
super clever. Who said that?
That was me.
Oh, okay.
You're a clever guy.
I can be clever.
That was really clever.
Yeah,
he is clever.
Just like it was said.
Now I feel ashamed for mentioning it.
On our live pod the other day with Mike the Narc, Mike Kasich, that basically, Rick had a string go out, right, at some point?
Mm-hmm.
We had an amp go out.
And there was an amp that went out, so there was a lot of things going on there, and that they were competing, basically, like turning Trevor up. They were competing with SDS9 bass-wise, like every time they got a little bit louder, they turned Trevor up. Every time they got a little bit louder, they turned Trevor up. So we all like ended up, even on the little mixler that we had, having our insides vibrated at home if you had a decent sound system, or your ears if you were listening on headphones.
Yeah, and the kick drum too was like obnoxiously
super loud. Yeah,
totally.
It was
excited to hear the soundboards.
Yeah, they definitely pushed the bass. I mean, I was at the festival, and yeah, I mean, overall, I think that it went well for them. Ran into Peter earlier in the day, and he said, they had flown out at 4 a.m, gotten off stage around 1 in Washington, and then got to the airport by 4, and then flew over. And Peter's like, "Oh, I slept," so he was doing okay.
And he's still out there mingling with fans, man. He's still out there glad handing.
Yeah, so it was cool to see him. The show itself was fun. Pancakes and Madhuvan, definitely the highlights for me. I think it started really well. The sound was tough. I mean, festival setting for Goose is very different. Definitely was, something it was my first, and one that it was different for show number 25 for me to be in that setting. It was cool. I just didn't really get to focus as much on them, which I think is fair given a festival grounds. And like everybody's talked about, the sound that was coming from the other stages was just insane. So it was a little difficult to focus. But overall, everyone was having a blast, I think, and that's what was important. A lot of new fans again, a bunch of festivals, and overall, I think a successful festival season for them.
So,
Agreed.
D, was it difficult to abandon SCS-9 for Goose?
Yeah, no, I not at all. I mean, I saw a little bit of Sound Tribe walking back for some bathroom, a little per break. And the one thing that was tough was just that field was so packed. Like where we left, it was like, nope, you're not getting back to where you were. It was just like, which is cool to see the popularity of the band now. But no, it was okay. Goose is my new favorite, obviously.
Fantastic.
All day. Yeah.
And that brings us to the end of the tour. So I think for everybody listening, I think that we have covered a leg of tour in record time now. So look at us go. We're pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm clapping for us.
Pat on the
actually.
back.
I'm like really proud
Good job
of
by
us.
us.
And now it's time for everybody's favorite part of the pod,
The sack.
the mail sack.
Yeah, let's drop the sack.
Thank you to everybody on Twitter who is sending us stuff. Yeah, getting involved. We appreciate it. And so we're each going to read a thing. So I will start. Got one here from Altered Brad the Fourth at 4-Year Puma. Drove to Vegas after the Colorado shows. After experiencing the historical Red Rocks show and getting emotional during Tumble in Arcadia, we got to go back to the intimacy of Old Goose. It was full circle. Fell in love with Turbulence and Earthlinger Alien there and met some new Arizona friends. Too fun. Really, really cool point there about going from, huge venues to smaller venues. I experienced that in my first 2 shows, my first show being Goosemas and my second show being at DC a few days later with, I think 1/6 the amount of people and in a much, much smaller room. So yeah, it's really cool to also hear how the band, kind of plays differently based on the size of the venue. Definitely a bit looser in Vegas.
Is anybody else excited for Ryan to experience the Colorado Goose vibe?
Oh,
I am for sure. Very excited.
Yeah, he's the only one who has not seen a Colorado Goose show yet.
It's only I've never been to Colorado. I'm very excited. December's going to be good. All right, who's got the next mail sack?
All right, I got a good one.
All right, go ahead, D.
All right, so we got it from our boy Rock.
Drop that
mine,
sack.
you son of a bitch! I shouldn't have let you go.
Well, I'm gonna go right into you. I'm gonna go right into you here. So this is perfect.
All right.
From our boy Rock at Strangest Design. We hung out with Eric and Anna, his wife, throughout Colorado. Saw him again.
They were awesome, man. I think
shout out.
I got to meet them as well. Jive.
Yep. Saw him again in Chicago.
I got to meet them.
Fantastic, folks.
Yep.
Proceed with the sack, sir.
Rock states, I'd like to highlight / give credit to Peter, the guitar player, for bringing out dark themes and rhythm to many of the evil jams we've enjoyed this tour. Love me layers of organ / synth / clav, but I'm becoming partial to 2 guitar agility. I love this comment from Eric here. I think, like we said, and we've talked about quite a bit, we touched on the wisteria from Dylan. We've touched on, yes, using keys in spaces where he'll usually play guitar, but the dissonance that we're seeing in, Madhuvan and the attack on Tumble and a lot of the 2 guitar jams that are just really, and Peter's playing in general has really just gotten insane with some of his effects. What do you got to say about it, Neal?
I mean, I've been saying this for a while. I've been saying this to people, like probably not on the pod, but people that I've been like introducing to Goose.
People on the elevator.
Yeah, I mean, really.
What?
I'm like one of those Goose fans that jams Goose sounds people down people's throats. But no, like I remember specifically at Westville 2021, where like I was saying to like a friend of mine, seeing his first Goose show, like when these jams get like real deep and like Peter's playing guitar, like listen to Peter play guitar because it's worth listening to. Because I think he adds depth to the jams that when he plays guitar that is outstanding. He's a phenomenal rhythm guitar player, and there's more to it than just like playing rhythm, right? Like there's just adding, I don't know, spice to the jam, and he's done it so well. He's done it so well in like so many amazing jams recently, and like I couldn't agree more. He is spectacular at the instrument, the way that he plays it.
Yeah, it's really been a hallmark of 2022, Peter's incredible guitar playing and how he's complimented Rick.
Yeah.
Who's got the next
all right.
mail sack?
Well, I'm going to do one now because Daniel stole mine.
How dare you?
So now you can steal Kevra B's.
Meal
so I have one that's maybe not so serious, but worth bringing up. The Vic.eth. ETH.
ETH, man.
ETH, whatever.
I'm going to steal your NFT. I'm going to steal your NFT, bro.
Well, I've got one, so that's exciting.
You got none now.
But his question is, when will we? This is actually relevant. When will we see utility in Goose's NFTs? And I say, probably never.
Yeah,
it's for it's for the fun, for the experience.
I might be wrong.
Oh yeah, I have a Goose NFT, whatever.
I've got one. I did.
That's the NFT you have.
No, you don't.
I have. No, I did. I got it. I should bring this up.
I stole it.
It's worth bringing up. So I collected the proof of attendance thing, when I went to Radio City, and then being a tech noob, being vexed by technology, I didn't claim it correctly, so I didn't actually get the NFT. But the guy who was in charge of the NFTs, his name is escaping me now, but he was like really kind to me, and then sent me one like maybe about 2-3 weeks ago. So I appreciate that. He's a pretty great guy. So
that's a James Flames design, right? On that NFT?
Yeah, it is, and it's pretty cool. I wish I was more bought into this whole like NFT thing, but I'm not.
I'm just glad you didn't. Pay for
we are not an NFT podcast, so
I'm just glad you didn't pay for it, Neal.
Yes,
I didn't pay for it. I did get it for
free.
I collected the thing. It's
so I have a meal sack drop. From Ryan Legvold, and it's more of a comment than a question here, but I think it might spur some conversation between us, considering how prominent Arcadias were in last year's Jotty bracket, including my champ, Mission Arcadia. I'm predicting a Goose Miss Arcadia that will capture a 1 seed in this year's bracket. Surprisingly, I don't feel like any Arcadia this year is a contender yet. What do y'all think?
Oh, he's right. There's not one this year that is a contender.
Yeah, a couple of
and I think he's also right that we're due for something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are definitely a couple of good Arcadias. Some above average ones. Really like the introduction of the slow ending to them. I think the best Arcadia this year so far is the one with Trey. But yeah, there's not one that's a contender in the bracket.
The Trey one is kind of the standout in terms of vibes, right?
I like Nashville. Nashville's my highest ranked Arcadia.
Is that the Wolfman's Arcadia?
That's the Wolfman's Arcadia.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. I hate to assign a fish tune name to it, but it really
is.
It's got vibes, man.
You could also call it Pancakes Arcadia, but
Madison also had a nice Arcadia.
Madison is nasty. I remember when we were watching the fan stream of that show, and we were like, "Oh, it's just going to be one of those like 12-minute Arcadias," and then it was like 20 minutes.
Yeah, Madison is pretty good.
It just builds for so long. It's really good. So if you haven't listened to the Madison Arcadia in a while, go check it out.
Super slow.
All right, I've got a couple just quick true false stock items.
Okay.
These are the best.
First one is from old friend Noah. Says Ben and Jeff have been playing tribal with their double kit. Dylan Wisteria, for example. True, that's a true for sure.
True.
Yep. And I just want to say too that I've actually been, I've been noticing, and I don't know if it's because I've been missing it before or what, but it just seems like we're getting double drums on more and more stuff.
So if y'all search the group chat for drip drums from me, you'll see how far back that goes. But they've been doing those.
I think of drip drums as something specific.
Like DC Wisteria.
Yeah. Drums that sound like Dripfield. So drip drums is kind of how I take that. But double drums, you know what I mean? It's like I'd have to go back and listen to every version of every song and be like, figure out, okay, when was the first time?
When they started.
That's what Ryan's got to do. That's the type of stuff Ryan wants to document. So
he's tangled up in Echo.
He'll have to take that on. But double drums, man. That's just we're going to see more and more of it, I think, and I'm all here for that. It's great.
Yeah, it's making
I'd rather double drums than one set of drums and then some little stuff, some little twinkly shiny things that you run the thing through.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Jeff has definitely been more audible
Yeah.
recently, and
he plays a lot of
it.
instruments. So I give him props for that. For
I
sure.
haven't seen a loaded beer can in a minute.
So and then we've got Garrett, guaranteed.
Guaranteed is what he said.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So we met.
That's
Someone pointed him out to me who had already met him, and so I ran up in the line before the doors opened, and Dylan night 2, and really wanted.
I
to
can't
give him
imagine
a shout.
you running. I feel like it was more of a saunter.
Just watch him during
ran.
pickleball.
No, we ran,
I move. Yeah, I get up and down the court.
He's got long legs, so he can move quickly.
He does have long legs.
Yeah, great guy. I always think about the fact that he streamed Suwannee last year, and I'll always remember him for that. And so anyway, I wanted to say hi to him, so I said hi to him. And then I noticed coincidentally that he left a comment tonight on the pod. He said, Dylan night 2, Born headed into the jam with the sun setting. Second set Wisteria, Red Rocks Blood Buzz, Red Rocks Tumble, Vegas Jivefecta. That must be the triptych he's talking about. LA Slow Ready with Lucius, and In Your Eyes with Lucius, and then the LA Driptych. Yeah, so I mean he's kind of flexing, I guess, a little bit. He's not really asking a question. He's
saying his favorite moments.
He's saying these are my favorite moments, and I went to all these shows, and it's a good flex. I'm giving him props.
Yes.
Definitely.
And ultimately that's a true. I don't disagree with anything he's saying there. I mean, those would be my highlights as well. So good job by Garrett. Nice to meet you. Shout out. Thanks again for that Suwannee stream. And yeah, so who's next? D?
He also makes killer Goose Pogs, by the way.
I definitely
this is the Pog guy.
I definitely have another one right here if I could real quick.
Yeah.
Shawnee Mack, Tim Sive, right? This dude is one of Allie Dice's friends that was visiting from San Francisco when I was watching a show with Chop and Allie and Fish Sticks referee, and we literally saw this dude come to life as a fish fan in front of, or not a fish fan, a goose fan in front of our eyes. Like, it was amazing. And like at the time I told Chop on this last run, I was like, man, I thought at the time maybe he was like just putting on airs because we were all just kind of dialed into what was happening. And like to see him like posting like his come alive, I'm following Goose on this mini tour has been just awesome to see. And he had this, he had this post for the Tahoe show that he was at, Rosewood and the Creatures and the SOS in Tahoe. Wow. Also the Empress in Portland. And to that, I just say it's fantastic, man. Just to see that enthusiasm, just to see new fans that think, hey, I don't know if I'm going to find another band to listen to. And holy shit, I just found another band to listen to. It's just fantastic to see that stuff happening in real time. Like, man, that's why I'm here.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. He's a super cool dude. We've been interacting a little bit as well. And, I feel like it bears repeating. Like, I just naturally look at this shit and I want to compare things and contrast things, and I want to track them. I want to rank them, and I want to put them into buckets and all that stuff. It's just kind of how my brain works. Right. But I tell people all the time, like, every show is a great show. You know what I mean? Like, this band is out there playing great shows every night to new fans every night. And so I just always feel like, that, like I said, it's worth repeating. You know what I mean? It's like, if I ever sound like, I'm dismissing something because there's something else that might be better, it's all good. I mean, it's all good. Everything these guys are doing is great right now.
True.
Go. That's
true. I've got one more.
One more?
We're going to keep going.
We're past the 2 hour mark, so may as well keep going.
Well, let's do one last one, because I think this one actually...
Oh, I thought we had 3 hours.
Yeah.
No. Come on now.
We have plenty of time. But like, so this one, I think can actually spark some decent conversation, and like probably a good way to end it, if we want to end it on this one. But so 902 Vickers, who's like a frequent commenter, so shout out to him. Spends a lot of time thinking about this band, does some cool stuff where he does like the Guess the Jam thing, which like, folks should...
Nobody can guess.
Yeah. I don't know. I usually do pretty well. Jive got me with his thing the other day, though. I had no idea what the hell that was. But so his comment was, would love to hear your perspective on how this year compares to 2021. Not necessarily which one is better, but things you're all noticing. For example, new styles of jamming, show compositions, how certain band members have evolved, influence of newer songs, etc. Which I think we've touched on this podcast already, like a bunch. But I think we're starting to see this band kind of move in a direction of, like, I guess, maturity in terms of jamming styles. We're seeing things that are very, very different. And I point to really at the beginning of this year when we're thinking about San Fran Wisteria and how much San Fran Wisteria has bled into other jams this year, like All I Need from Pleasant Valley, or Raleigh Madavon, or I mean even the Earthling or Alien from MPP. And so, like, yeah, I mean, I think it's very different this year. And 2021 is awesome. Like, you go back and you think about, like, the top 10 or so jams of that year, and, like, those are incredible, incredible jams. But I think what we're seeing now is, like, stuff that's actually very, very different than that. And it's something to be really, really excited about.
And we kind of touched on that, Neal, like the MPP Echo. Like, it's not going to make the top 64 right now with, like, months to go before the end of the year. Like, it's nuts. We talk about, like, precision and them playing precise, and we kind of, we joke about it. But these are 100% professional musicians. They're not dialing it in. Like, you're getting a fantastic professional show every time these guys play.
For sure.
I would say that there's a few things that jump out at me if I think of 2022 versus 2021. The first one would probably be just the darkness, the getting into the dark spaces more and the evil kind of stuff more.
For sure.
I think that's a big kind of part of that evolution, right? Another big one is there's been 14 original debuts in 2022, and there were 7 in all of 2021.
Keep them
and
coming.
Then you could take this a step further and look at those songs individually as well. But I think there's been a big shift in just their output, and that alongside the evolution in their playing and everyone continuing to evolve as a musician, all those things. I mean, I think that's a huge, that one might stand out to me the most, just the output when it comes to new songs. And yeah, with Peter, I would say like 2021 was like the year of Peter evolving on keys, and then maybe you would expect that to continue in 2022, but it's almost like he put the focus into some of the guitar work and some of that more nuanced kind of texturing and effects and personal style and things like that. Some of the things that you guys were talking about just a few minutes ago. So those would be about the big 3 things that would stand out to me.
Yeah. And so I would say, before we close out, what are you guys hoping for on this fall tour coming up? I would say I would like The Way It Is and No Rain, please.
I love No Rain.
I mean, are we talking like fall tour? Like, are we talking about like
Taboos?
Fall tour inclusive of Taboos?
Not Taboos, just fall, just the Goose headlining fall tour.
I mean, what I'm really looking forward to, like in this fall tour, is like not fest sets. I mean, I mean, there's no other way to say it. Like, I want to hear Goose go out there and do their thing several nights in a row. And I think that's like my one knock over of like what happened this summer tour is like, there were even 2 set shows that felt like fest sets. And like, I just want them like to go out and do what they did like winter tour, like at the start of this year, where they were just like playing night after night, just like playing their stuff. Yeah. And like, I want to hear them like do like some silly stuff at like smaller venues. And like, like I think earlier this year we were kind of like hating on that a little bit, but like now I kind of miss it. I want them to be comfortable and loose and just do whatever the hell they want. Right. And so that's what I'd like to see like in this fall tour. Maybe like not like have to like go out there and like impress the shit out of everybody every night. Like just do what they want to do.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, and I totally agree with that. And I think, like, looking at this tour, I feel like it's set up really well for that kind of thing, because this tour starts out with 2 2-night runs,
A lot of two-nighters, yep.
4 shows in 4 days, at just 2 venues. So I mean, I think that what we see a lot is it's the 2-night runs where they tend to drop like some of their best shows.
Get comfortable.
Yeah, it's the good night sleep factor. But yeah, it's also just, it's comfortability, I guess, in a lot of different ways. But so that's really cool. And then as you move down through the tour and they are kind of start to travel around a little bit, you get some nice runs of shows. I mean,
Orleans.
6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 11th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. So a lot of shows coming kind of thick and fast. You know what I mean? So I think that also bodes well. So just looking at the proper tour before, the tab shows, I feel like this is primed to deliver some really good stuff. So I'm coming into it with high expectations for sure.
The general comment that I would make about that is, like, every little break that we've seen from Goose, and then like the next tour that they've taken off on, we've seen a little bit of a wrinkle of something different, of something improving, of something that's always getting better. And I think that's why we're all here and why we're so intrigued and hooked on this band right now.
Yeah, I think my hope would be a little bit more setlist variation. Like I said, I think there was a mail sack. I know Brendan, our boy B Dunn, referenced it to tie that in, but just a little bit more variation, I would say, bringing some of those songs that we saw with Bigger Gaps back into the fold a little bit more regularly, or White Lights, and some of that, I would say, Jive 2, more regular rotation, coupled with maybe some of the album stuff becoming a little bit more, not as 3 to 4 show gaps. I think that would be nice for me. So yeah.
Can I drop my own mail sack?
Sure. So close us out. Your mail sack.
So I have a question of my own for y'all, and I think this is all just like pure speculation because I don't want to put anybody on the spot. But there was a conversation, I believe, in interviews about there being more original songs, more content, them wanting to move on from Dripfield. And I know we're still experiencing Dripfield, but are there more? Is there another album on the horizon to y'all's knowledge?
Not to my knowledge, but just if I had to speculate, there absolutely is.
I'm absolutely asking all of you to speculate.
There's music in the can for sure, and I think that goes beyond Goose. I mean, I think that's also true for Visuto.
Oh damn, yeah. I mean, that's a good way of looking at it. I mean, at some point they're going to have to put Silver Rising on wax. They're going to have to put California Magic on wax. Like,
want it to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen, and it's probably already happening. Actually, as we have these like longer breaks. They have to be recording these songs. I'd be shocked if they weren't.
Thank you for cradling my sack.
Fantastic. And that is a perfect place to end off.
Well, so I do have one other topic.
Yeah, sure he does.
Ryan, because I know.
See, we got through the shows faster, but we need
to talk major awards.
Yeah, I feel I just want to give a shout out.
The collective eye roll.
Go ahead, pat yourself.
Hey, congratulations.
No, I wanted to give a shout out. So
to yourself.
Listen,
no, it's gonna be a backhanded shout out.
Yeah, now we're fucked. We blew it. Now we blew it.
Come on, guys. Listen, Fantasy Goose is it's a big deal to a lot of people. You know what I mean? There's a lot of players out there today. People want to hear, you know what I mean?
There's dozens of content. There's dozens of us.
So, no, hey, listen, seriously, shout out. I wanted to give a shout out to you guys. You're not letting me talk and you're making fun of me. I'm trying to give a shout out to you guys because between the 5 of us,
winning would not have been as fun without beating
4
all
of us.
You.
4 of us in the top 6.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's out of thousands of players. That's 4 of the top 6.
Tens of thousands.
Point tens of thousands.
So just for anybody who's interested in the actual information, I came in first.
Oh, there it is.
Neal came in second.
Yeah.
Corey, it's good buddy. Met Corey at Dillon and saw him again at Red Rocks. His brother, their whole crew, really, really awesome group. He was talking a little bit of smack, though. I mean, to be honest, I'm not going to lie. So he did end up coming in third.
You were worried about him for a little while.
That's a good job by him. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was right up there. Well, he was him and Corey and Neal were kind of going back and forth in a battle for second. And so Neal won the battle for second. So cheers to him as well again.
I'm just glad that
Zach Straw.
I'm just glad that you could tell them all that they lost tonight. Call them out individually.
I'm only going to run through a couple more real quick. Zach Straw, we talked about him before. He does it for the love of the game. Same with Corey. They're in it. They're up there competing every night, and it shows in these results. I mean, those are top finishes. Everyone should be proud of that. You know what I mean? And then we've got D coming in fifth, champion of the previous season, coming right back into the fifth spot. So good job by him. I think he struggled early and then he came back late. And then young Ryan coming in sixth place, which I think is two tours in a row.
I had a late tier comeback.
Two tours in a row. He's come in the sixth spot. So
yeah,
he's right there.
Listen,
and I know Kevin's right up in here somewhere too.
And those are the results, and we appreciate everybody that played this year.
But just make sure you really, really congratulate B on winning, because he doesn't really think about it. It's not really on the forefront of his mind that he won.
It's an afterthought.
Says the guy whose picks are in at 6 a.m. Mountain Time.
I wake up in the morning. I look at my spreadsheet. I do my picks.
Yeah.
It's a good way of doing it.
When tour's happening, when my phone starts buzzing in the morning, it's usually Ryan letting us know that his picks are already in.
I pride myself.
So the advice there, Ryan, maybe take another extra hour or two.
Hey, you know what? Last fall when I had no spreadsheet and was just going off of, I would literally pick up my phone, just go through and pick 8 random songs that I thought they might play. I was winning for 2/3 of the tour.
You were not.
I was winning until just after my birthday, when I started completely shitting the bed. I got Golden Goose twice in the span of a week and a half. So get out of here.
That's a wrap on the Fantasy Goose season. And I expect even more players in the fall. Please
get involved.
Sign up, play, get involved.
Y'all heard it here. Ryan shit the bed.
Yeah,
thank you.
There's more and more good players, coming out every tour.
And I feel like
winning it is only getting more and more difficult. So.
How dare you people?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I'm kidding.
That's where we're gonna wrap up the episode for today. Don't forget, as fall tour kicks off, the day after every show at 3:00 p.m. Eastern time. Tune in on to Always Almost There on YouTube, at AAT Goose Pod on Twitter, or our Facebook page. We are live recapping the previous night's shows. If you are going to shows this fall and you would like to be a guest on the podcast, please stay vigilant to our social media. We will be putting out a call in the next couple of weeks. Other than that, thank you all for listening. Again, as usual, if you are still listening, thank you. Hope you have a fantastic day. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Ball gang.
Cheers, y'all. Peace. Love y'all.